Well, welcome to another episode of the More Than a Game podcast. And over the years, we've been blessed with some incredible personalities who have joined us on the podcast, from players to coaches to club officials as well. And joining us on the podcast today is another incredible voice, literally speaking. And I'm speaking of none other than, I believe, the greatest court announcer this country's ever seen, Sydney Kings game announcer, but also CEO of the North Bears Association, Eric Stevens. Eric Stevens, welcome to the More Than a Game podcast.
Dan, I'll take that intro anytime you give it to me. I appreciate that. That's a real humbling thing. I appreciate you. It's great to be on the show and looking forward to getting into it with you.
Let's dive straight into it, mate, because you were courtside for every single one of the games, just about at home anyway, for the Sydney Kings Grand Final series against the Adelaide 36ers. We witnessed one of the greatest NBL Grand Final series in history, arguably. But again, you were courtside for all those games at Kudos Bank Arena. What was your take on that Grand Final series?
Boy, absolutely unbelievable. And I did make it to Game 4 down in Adelaide as well, and that was fun too. I think the Adelaide fans were great. A little different when I went to Perth and was wearing my Josh Childress jersey, but
Yeah.
that's a different story for a different time. But in Adelaide, they were really great, really respectful, and a very quick congratulations to those guys and what they're doing in the offseason by continuing to improve. They're going after the chip, and they should. We're just too good for them on a couple of different occasions.
Absolutely, mate. So you were there courtside, as I said, and announcing the game. That rivalry between Kendrick Davis and Bryce Cotton heated things up. But as I said, you've been involved for many years now, 15 years plus with the Sydney Kings as their game night or courtside announcer. Where did that rank in terms of Grand Final series for you? And you've seen a few.
Well, that was my fifth. I had in the MC in the early days, I was MCing when Rodney O was doing the job of court announcing when they got their first one. And I think that first one ever was pretty impressive and left a mark, that's for sure. And then the next one, the most standout was when Chase took the reins in that first game. That was an incredible run because it had been so many years in between drinks. And then this one, I think, is the next one. Not ranked in any order by any means. I don't think you could if you tried, but it was special. Game 5, overtime, and really looking challenging at different points at the end of that regulation. I mean, very, very challenging to sit there and go, wow, are we going to pull this one out or not? And it was that both those teams were on a collision course throughout the season. And it ended up in what I believe is probably the greatest, if not one of the greatest grand final series ever in the NBL.
Absolutely. And game 1, it looked like it was going to be a blowout, a sweep of a series. They got absolutely annihilated Adelaide, but to their credit, they bounced back and showed the incredible team that they are. But did you think it was going to go to 5 and have the series that we did after that first game?
Yeah, I said 4. I thought it was going to go in 4, and I thought game 1 probably backed my play on that. That's where I thought it was going, and again, just like Adelaide, for the Kings, a couple of things go your way, and you are winning that in 4. But it was one for the ages. I mean, you wanted, the NBL got what they wanted. I think Kings fans got a little bit more of what they wanted than Adelaide did, of course. But I even think, had the Kings not won that, I still think, it would have stung. But as a Kings fan, I would have looked at that and gone, listen, we got what we came here for. We got our money's worth on that one.
Yeah, that was a credible series. So good job too, mate. Listening back in Perth, it was good to see your vocals over in the background as well. But for those who don't know your story, let's go back to the beginning. Obviously from the States, I'm correct in that. So whereabouts in the States were you from, and how did you first get involved with the game of basketball?
Yeah, it's great. I played as a kid, just like almost every other kid around my area. I'm from Portland, Oregon, home of the Portland Trail Blazers, as people know. Hopefully, going to stay the home of the Portland Trail Blazers. If anybody follows NBA, you know what I'm talking about. If not, go and look that one up. New ownership over there. So I played all through high school, played before that, really loved the game, blew my knee out, and then, coached a little bit and wanted to stay in the game. So I got into radio, didn't think much about basketball. And in the late 90s, I went to the Portland Trailblazers tryout for court announcer, and I came second place.
Wow.
And
There
that
you go.
was it was unreal. Like they had a hundred and
Yeah.
some odd people in that made the kind of the that first deal, and then we
Mm,
were doing games against a large screen TV, and then got down. I did two preseason games at Moda Center, and that was a pretty big highlight. Really scary,
mm,
as you can imagine.
yep.
And the guy that's doing it now, Mark Mason, he's the guy. He's the guy that I went up against at the time and didn't quite have enough to make it happen at the point at that
Mm,
point. But then I decided to make a life change. I moved to Australia. Didn't know anybody out here. It was really just I'd been working my whole life, and I was like, I don't want to wake up at 80 and go, what didn't happen to me? So I decided to make a life move. Got over here to Australia, and then just by coincidence, and this the weirdest story ever, but by coincidence, I stayed with a guy whose family was really good friends with a guy named Adam Howarth, who was at the time a Fox Sports producer.
mm,
And now he's I don't know his exact title, but I think he's the head of content at Fox Sports at the moment. So he's had a pretty good run as well. But he
right.
was super good friends with Steve Carfino,
Hmm.
and it tied into the Kings organization, knew Drewy really well. And so I went over there, and they said, hey, they're looking for somebody over at the Kings. And I think they were looking for someone that might be able to step into that PA role at some point.
Mm,
And so I got there. I think I did a game as a court announcer, and I wasn't very good. And then I ended up doing MC work. Probably wasn't very good because I wasn't very good. But beyond that, also I didn't know the league very well,
yep.
and so that always helps. But
Mm,
yeah, so I did MC for a couple of years in those first championships, and then left. Then the Kings had their kind of demise, and then when they came back, 1 year removed after they came back, David Wolf
mm.
was at Manly, and I was doing a game over there. I think St. Mary's was at Manly, and I was doing a game over there just to help Brad Dalton out,
All right.
another Kings guy, and I
Yeah.
was coaching for him over at St. Augustine's as well. And he was like, David Wolf came up to me and said, "Hey man, are you interested in coming in and being the court announcer?" And I said, "Let's get after it." So yeah, that's been a pretty good run, pretty good
Yeah.
run.
Incredible. And over 15 years now, still going. It's been great.
Oh yeah, no, it was a good milestone this year. I really do have to thank the Kings fans for staying with me. 250 games
Yeah.
as a part of the organization. It was a real milestone, especially
Yeah.
when you only do home games, bro.
That's right.
So
Absolutely. Congratulations, mate. It was a great milestone. But
appreciate
just
that.
to rewind again, so obviously you got into it in the radio and all that, but what made you want to pursue that court announcing gig? Was there someone to say you've got the voice, for lack of a better term, or have you
Boy,
skill, or was it how did it come
I,
about?
I wish that was it. That would have been great if somebody had
Yeah.
said that. I don't think I had anybody said I didn't, but I don't think I had anybody said I did.
Hmm.
It was really just that, it was a marriage that I never saw coming because I love the game of basketball.
Hmm.
Like I grew up with it. My uncle Dave gave me that love for the game way back in the
Hmm.
day, playing one on one against him on a gravel driveway pad with it's Norman Rockwell, it's Americana and a homemade backboard and all the rest. And
Hmm.
in my playing, if things had gone differently, I don't think that I'd ever made a Div. I know I wouldn't have ever made a Div 1 school, but maybe got a scholarship at community college or lower college. Like I think that was probably in my future before things turned out
Hmm.
differently. But I always loved the game, and then I got into radio. I loved broadcasting, loved radio, and then at the very end of being in America before I came to Australia, that opportunity came up, and somebody must have said, I think a guy that I worked with at the radio station said, I did a few games for them. You should go over and try for this. And then I did.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I got the bug. And then again, it wasn't realized for another 4 or 5 years later once I got to Australia. And then it
Hmm.
just happened to be meeting the right people.
Yeah.
So, and it was a long time. Like I don't jest when I say thank you to Kings fans and probably a few NBL fans for
Hmm.
putting up with me throughout the years. I think I in the beginning, I think I needed to learn a lot about what it's like and what you're supposed to do and what
Hmm.
finding your own feet
Hmm.
and how you do your own thing, and they put up with me.
You had some big shoes to fill. Obviously, Rodney O was in the seat, the hot seat previously, and so you
Yeah.
took over from him when the Kings came back. Wasn't it when the Kings first came back into the league that you started, or?
Yeah,
Event. Oh,
he being court announcer, yeah. So
yeah.
MC'd with him for 1 year, and then he
Okay.
left, and Grant
Yep.
Goldman did the court
Yes.
announcing the next year, and I emceed for that. And
Right.
then I left. I think I got super busy. I was working the Australian radio network at the time, I was super busy,
Right.
and then couldn't do it. And then, yeah, the first year back, Rodney did it. And then after that, I came back
Yeah. So good.
and then into that role for full time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Awesome.
that was good, and yeah, learned a lot. You know, like he has such a magnificent voice, and it is so iconic
Mm,
with Kings in those early years of the Kings and Michael
absolutely.
Blesky, Lorraine Landon, like
Mm, mm.
just icons of the game. So really, really good.
Yeah. Incredible. So obviously it's in the Kings, but you've had some major international events that you've been called announcer for as well, Olympic Games, World Cups. How did that come about, and what would you say would be your highlight in terms of court announcing?
So many, so many. It's so hard, but giving you the background a little bit for it. I was doing Kings. Greg Bowman, who worked at a company called Great Big Events, who was doing the Kings game day presentation. And then he's iconic as well. So was Great Big Events.
Mm,
I say was because they're now RWS Global. They're part of a global firm now. But he was really the inventor of sports press for the 2000 Olympics here in Sydney. And he really gave me my first crack. It took me to China to go and do the World Cup, so the FIBA Men's World Cup in China,
mhm,
and that ended in Beijing. I was in Shanghai before that, so that was my first real taste. Met a guy there named Mustafa, who's an English-speaking announcer, very big in FIBA, does a lot of EuroLeague and all that. So he really put me under his wing as well in that one. So we became fast friends as well. He's from Istanbul, and that was really where it started. And then I think what happens is then you get a taste of it, and FIBA gets a taste of you, and they decide, oh yeah, we like this guy. Then there's a tournament here, there's a tournament there, and but everyone is. I think people. I don't know that people understand what it's not just who you know, and I think it's
mm,
good that people know you. That always helps. But every time you go back after a FIBA event that's international, you are putting your resume in again. You're putting your vision in again around your video. You're putting all of those things in and applying again,
mm,
and that's the process every single time. So yeah, you have to get approved. Olympic Games, you have to get approved by the IOC and the special committee around the IOC. So it's a process, and so when you get those, you feel really fortunate because
mm,
there's a lot of really capable people out there that do this,
mm,
and I've been fortunate enough to meet a few of them,
mm.
and my run's been good, but you never know when it's your last. So you always savor them. And the first ones, I think you're absolutely paranoid. I think you're just like, oh man, like I'm at World Cup. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I got to lock in here and do my job. And then I think the biggest surprise for me was that World Cup and Olympics are very similar in their format
Mm,
and how they look and operate.
mm.
But I remember in Tokyo, and it was a weird year because 20 in 21
I was
because
going
of
to ask you about that. Yeah.
yeah,
How weird it
COVID. It
was.
was really super weird year, right?
Mm,
But when you walk in the venue for the first time, so you get off the plane. I think I got off the plane. It was like that afternoon. It was like, hey, do you want to come out to Saitama's Super Arena, check it out? It's like, of course. So you get over there and you're masked up and you walk into this place. But like when you first walk into the bowl and you see the Olympic rings, you go very much, not at all putting this in perspective of like what it would be like to be an athlete, but
mm,
I
mm.
think for you and your specialty around court announcing, you also feel that pressure to go, hey, I got to be my absolute best here. Like
Sure.
this is the Olympic Games,
Yeah.
and when you see those rings, it really hits you hard. It was
Mm,
the most amazing feeling ever. Like just
absolutely.
just great. But it was weird. It was super weird going to Tokyo. The thing about it is your dream could have died so many times.
Yeah.
So they let you know, hey, you've been selected. It's great. And then it begins. But as you know, and everybody that's watching this knows
Mm,
that it was really such a strange time. And if you get COVID at any time during that, you're automatically done, and that goes right through the tournament.
Wow.
So when we were there, like it was the airport here plus all the right documentation. You get
Mm.
over there, it's the same thing, and you could be just sent home at any point. So you're going, oh, like it's already a year delayed. You thought you were going to go maybe a year earlier, and that was
Yep.
open for you, and then you get there, and it's a year delayed. Then you get there, and then at any time, and like you're actually taking COVID tests the whole time. So you, at any moment, you could just. And the funniest thing was, you love this. The funniest thing was is that you got there and they were like, you were locked down, and you were in an apartment, and
Mm.
we weren't allowed to take public transport
Right.
until 14 days in or something. Then you could
Mm.
take public transport. So they were taxiing us to the arena and back, about 30-40 minute drive. And you were in your apartment, but you were allowed to go out and go to the little mini mart that was around the corner and then
Wow.
back in. So they must have felt like that area was very safe, and that if you
Mm.
went in there and you were masked up, that you wouldn't have a problem. But it was weird times.
What was
But
it? Sorry, what was it like? Because this found weird, seeing those empty stadiums still been like I remember you announcing to an empty stadium. Like I mean, there was officials and different people.
yeah,
What was that experience like? Like trying to get yourself in the mindset that this is a high level game, international level game, but having an empty stadium.
yeah, and I also think, Dan, like the other part of that maybe people can get some insight into is that even more than bringing the fans up. I mean, that's what we do all the time as announcers in
Mm.
the NBL or NBA or whatever. You're really trying to regulate that crowd involvement and getting them going at the right times. But it also has a massive impact on the players.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
when they get into those environments and they don't have that surrounding, it really is up to you and the music to provide that. So
Mm.
that was a big one, but it was surreal. There were, I think, in some of those games, there's a massive crew that
Mm.
nobody sees. Probably 500 at the minimum, maybe 1,000 most
Right.
times.
Wow.
And then at the USA game at the end, there was at least 5,000 in there. Like
Wow. Okay.
I think they brought in, what they did is they brought in volunteers
Mm.
that were, and dignitaries and things like that, but still a drop in the ocean in a 20,000 seat arena. And so it was hard to get used to. But I will say that, especially being a Portland Trailblazers fan at the time, it was nice because you had a lot of access you probably wouldn't have on a normal, game night in the Olympic Games, in that
Mm.
there were less like reads that you had to do and all the rest. So you had more time. And
Mm.
so meeting some people like Damian Lillard and all that were just highlights, absolute highlights.
Yeah. Unbelievable, mate. Such a incredible experience for you. As you're talking, it just reminded me of when I was a match day manager for the NBL. We did a finals game with Southeast Melbourne Phoenix and Melbourne United. Did you do that game as well? There's no one in the stands but family. Did you do that one, or
I
did they
I
get?
didn't I didn't do that one.
Okay,
No.
it was at
No, but
Kudos Bank Arena.
yeah,
At
that's
Kudos.
right.
Yeah,
I think they were
they must have got someone else
they
in for that one.
they I know that Rattler down there at United, I know he said to his team,
Mm.
I trust Eric to do it. You should just have him come out and do that one. But I think that Great Big Events actually just had one of their people do it.
Okay, right, right. I
Yeah.
couldn't recall. I just remember sitting up the stand, no one there. It
Yeah.
was a weird feeling.
It was weird. I watched that one on TV and I was just like, what's going on?
Yeah,
Like,
unbelievable.
it's crazy.
It was a crazy time. Let's
Yeah,
move on. I think the key thing that I've found with the basketball climate in Australia is being a part of it myself in the NBL one. And obviously you're part of it with the North Association. We'll come to that in just a moment as CEO. But one of the
sure.
great things that the NBL one has provided is more opportunities for game announcers and people to cut their teeth in that space. So there may be a few out there that are listening and may want to have a few tips as to what makes a great game announcer. But obviously, it's important to create that atmosphere as a game announcer. But what do you think makes a great sports announcer this day and age?
From a public address announcer standpoint or court announcer, I think that is about bringing your own style to it,
Hmm.
like not being afraid to go, this is how I feel. Be influenced by people, like, listening to NBA games and going and seeing games, and some of these amazing, people that are around all the different clubs around Australia. There's some really good announcers here. I think that's it. Bring your own thing to it.
mm,
But too many times, I think internationally, even when I've worked with guys internationally or women internationally in these roles, I think too many times it's they're really trying hard and they're copying somebody. And
mm,
that's okay in the beginning. Like everybody, I think, has a bit of that and does that. But I just
mm,
say, start with the basics, make it nice and clean, go for clean games, get the basics right. Like you'd be surprised on how many people, even in our league, don't go up to the players and ask how you pronounce the player's name or a
mm,
coach's name.
mm.
It just doesn't happen. I don't get it 100% of the time,
You do a good
but
job,
I
bro.
go and
Just
thank
saying.
you. But I do go every time. Sometimes
Mm,
I get nailed by like an assistant coach that like tells me the wrong thing, and then for 2 seasons I'm like, wait a minute, I've been calling it this way because I talked to the player. So you really want to
yeah,
definitely talk to the players and get it
sure.
from them if you can, or a
Mm,
real trusted source.
mm,
I think the other thing is too, like, you're there, you've got a job to do around bringing the crowd into the game at different times, what we talked about earlier.
mm,
That's really your job. I think too many times people think that it's screaming,
mm.
and there are a few that do it that way, and
Yeah.
hey, if that's your thing, that's your thing. It's not my style.
Mm,
It's for me, it's more nuance. It's what you say and when you say it, and it's not just like the same volume all the time.
mm.
And I think that's, oftentimes in radio, that's called light and shade.
Yep.
So you want to take the audience on a journey,
Mm,
and that requires light and shade. If you're just here all the time and you never go here and then up here, it's it's really hard, I think, for the audience to get anything out of it.
mm.
So pull it back a little bit, and
Yep.
then have some nice little moments, and then get big, and then
Mm.
say something clever that you might think of.
Yeah.
that's
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 nice.
that's the biggest piece of advice I'd say. And always make friends with always bring a thing of snakes for the score table. Always do. I got to make friends at the score table.
Absolutely. I did enjoy those back in the day.
100%.
Just on that, because I did obviously get to witness you behind the scenes, but not just you, but the whole production. Being the match day manager, got to see a lot of what goes on behind the scenes. But seeing your preparation was really incredible to see the amount of preparation you put in. And it's not just
Thank you.
simply rocking up, sitting in your seat and going for it. There's a lot of preparation involved. So, what does a game day preparation look like for you?
This is great, Dan. Like, this is a really good question, because I went to that first World Cup we talked about in Shanghai.
Yep.
And of course, you got so many international teams. And I think, first of all, don't I was trying from here to fall, because you didn't go to the opening rounds. Like, you went to, must have been the round of 16 or something, but
Mm,
we went there then. And so I was following along, and I was trying to learn the players ahead of time. You're
hmm.
never going to remember that many players
Yep.
ever.
Yep.
Or if you are, you're a much better person than I am. I have much more of a steel trap photographic memory than I do.
Yeah.
So I think that's a fallacy. But what I learned out of that trip alone, and this
Mm,
is why, and I think I'm still the only guy to do it that I've seen, between here, international, doing the NBA summer league,
mm,
like, I I I got a story about that too. But I'm
mm,
still the only guy I know that has two iPads in front of me, with both teams phonetically spelled. And some people might not need to do that. That's my technique, and that's what I do. But that all came out of China, because I found myself looking down at pronunciations and then looking back up, from when you had paper,
mm,
and it's too hard. I want to keep my vision on the court and be
mm,
able to just look. And it also is really good because it stops any kind of confusion,
mm,
is you can just flip the iPads, what's on the screen,
mm.
and you've got whichever team is going this way is on the left, and whichever is that way is going on the right.
It's
Just
awesome.
keep things as simple as possible.
Mm,
But I did, on capitalizing on that, the when I went over and did NBA Summer League,
yeah.
it was just hilarious. Like, I was over there, and I set everything up, and the lady that was there, they even do crazier stuff over there. Like, the
Can
guys over
imagine.
there that have been doing college and stuff forever, those guys are actually keeping a full on score tablet. Like, they're keeping the box score, and they
Gosh.
know, like, who's in and who's not. I'm like, that's not me. That's not my game. Like, I need to concentrate on what I'm saying, what I'm doing, and all the
Mm,
rest. I cannot. keep track. Even my friend that I talked about earlier, Mustafa from Istanbul, like
Mm,
that guy does all these games all around the world, and he doesn't keep a full box score, but he does keep track of like who's in and who's out. And I'm
mm.
like, and personal fouls. I'm like, personal fouls, that's what the paddles are for, bro. Like, I don't need to keep track of that.
Yeah,
I trust the score veg.
yeah.
But he's like, no, they might get it wrong. And I want to make sure. And I'm like, now then I'm just second guessing me against them. I'm not doing that. But in Vegas, when I did that over there, one lady over there, I know she was coming in to do the next set of games after my day.
Mm.
And she's like, oh wow, that's quite an elaborate setup that you have there. I was
Wow.
like, yeah, it is quite an elaborate setup. This is why, Dan, I feel when I've been in Australia 24 years,
Yeah.
that this is why when I travel internationally and I do this stuff internationally, it's like even in America, like I feel way more Australian. I identify more as Australian than I do
Is that
American.
right? Really?
100%, man. Like
Wow.
even back in the States, like it's
Yeah.
great that the passport gets me in and I don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
when I travel anywhere else in the world, I'm always on my Australian passport. And I identify more because I actually, you know what, man, I didn't understand when I first got here
Mm.
what people I knew what they meant by tall poppy
Yeah.
and about loud Americans. Like I understood it, but I wasn't that. So when they
Mm.
would say it about Americans, I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But now that I'm kind of Australified, like I'm like, oh yeah, those people are so loud and they are so
Yeah.
tall poppy. Like they really think like that lady, like she was like, why do you have to be a hater? The dude's just
Yeah.
got two iPads. Like, why can't you just go like, mm.
Yeah.
And and I was justified
Mm.
going to Paris and doing the games over there when my counterparts, who are the best ever,
Mm.
Pierre over there and Ben, these two amazing announcers,
Mm.
Paris French announcers.
Mm.
They were absolutely insane, bro. They so nice, so giving, so amazing. And
Mm.
they didn't have my setup, but they each had an iPad down below that they were working off of
So
as well.
good.
So I was a little bit justified there
Absolutely,
in
mate.
all that. But
Yeah.
the prep days are pretty. They're easier definitely than an international if you're doing those for the NBL. I know
Mm.
most of the players. I was really fortunate last year. The league was so good to me. I
Mm.
had I had the Blitz, I had Hoops Fest, I had a lot of different games. So
Mm.
I got a chance early to meet, to be introduced to a lot of players that, I might not see for a few games into the season. So that was really handy last
Mm.
year. But yeah, man, it's about, getting the names right, going up, talking to people. What's really great, if I have to tell you, mate, after all these years, is
Mm.
like I do feel a little bit like part of the furniture,
It's great.
and it's
Mm.
really nice the
Mm.
relationships that I've made with different players and managers and coaches
Yep.
has is just great, and that's why I think sometimes people want maybe fans. I don't think Kings fans, but some people might want announcers to be really, really biased. Like I'm
Mm.
biased. Don't get me
Mm.
wrong. Like
Mm.
you come to Kudos, you're going to get your
Yeah.
fill. But
Absolutely.
I'm super respectful to referees. I'm super respectful to the teams.
Mm.
We might play a little bit of funny music in their intros or something like that. But when I
Mm.
call names and numbers, I'm calling names and numbers. I don't give you the juice.
Yep.
Like I'm not going to be all on Angus Glover like he plays for the Kings still.
Yep. Yep.
When Quad
Absolutely.
comes to town, I'm not going to be all like Quad Noy and giving him juice,
Yep.
but I am going to give them the respect they deserve because I
Mm.
think they all deserve it.
Definitely.
Like they're doing the thing that we all wish we could do, right? They're getting paid to
Yeah.
play basketball. I think that's
See,
amazing.
I love your comment at Kings games. Once a king, always a king. I remember Josh Childress was in the crowd, and yeah, it was so good.
100%. That's great.
What's
I saw him at those NBA games down in Melbourne, man. That
Oh
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
yeah,
He
because
was
he's part
there.
owner in the Phoenix,
That's
and
right.
like
Mm.
that guy looks like he could go and play right
I
now. Like
know. I saw that.
so good,
Yeah, he still
so good.
looks so yeah,
Bogues
absolutely. But
too. Bogues
Bogues as
too, man.
well.
He
He
he looks like
does.
he could get out there.
He
Like
probably
he
doesn't
probably
think
can.
so, but he does look
I'm
like
sure
it.
his body tells him he
Yeah,
can't,
exactly.
and that's probably the only reason he's not. But I tell
Yeah,
you what, man, Bogues,
absolutely.
dude, that was
Yeah,
unreal.
absolutely, mate. But behind you, there's an NBL one trophy.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
assuming. So I was going to talk about it because not only are you a court announcer, but you got a day job as well. You got your own business, but you're also CEO of the
yeah,
North Bears Basketball Association. And as I was saying, it's grown a lot in the last few years from what it used to be when I played with NBL
yeah.
one on the scene now. But how did that come about? And you've been there for a couple of years now. So what's that been like being the CEO of Norths?
Well, you stop me when the stories get too long, all right? Because this is
It's good, mate.
another really good. This is
What
another
it's
really
all
good one.
about.
So
Yeah.
technically, like I played domestic comp at Norths for at least 15 years, maybe more.
Right.
Started in A and ended in C. I think it's always that downward spiral as you age. But
Mm-hmm.
all my mates from the Kings played here, and in my I was only in Australia probably for a year or so, and then they said you got to come and play at the rooftop. And I was like, that sounds strange, but let's go because I'm playing with too many American guys at the KGV, and anybody in
Yeah.
Sydney knows
Yep.
that venue, knows what I'm talking about.
Good venue.
There's some good guys there from the States, but man, they like a 3-on-2 where they pull up for the three. And when I'm open on the wing, I want the rock.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
I'll take a layup over that mess. But long story short, like being a Northern Beaches guy, meeting Brad Dalton, having kids that played at Manly,
Mm.
like that was really my association. I played at Norths, but you don't really have that affiliation with the club unless you're involved in reps or something like
Yep.
that. It's really just the rooftop. And so Tommy Garla was over here and he invited me to come over. He said, man, you should come and do games over here. And that was Waratah at the time. And I was like, yeah, man, that sounds good. Like off-season work, like why not? Keeps
Yep.
the pipe sharp and I love basketball. So let's get into it. So we did that. And then I got to meet Brett McTavish, who was the CEO before me. I also knew the other CEOs too, Graham, Reed, and all the
Mm-hmm.
rest. But Brett was the last one here, and I got to know him really well. And when he left and was leaving, he said, "Hey man, I'm letting you know that I'm taking off, but do you know somebody?" And I was like, "Well, maybe me." And he goes, "Let's have a coffee." And the only reason for that was I have an advertising agency that's been around for about 17 years, and
Mm.
we do some pretty crazy good work for some big brands. But
Mm.
I was looking for ways to do more work with Hoops Cap.
Yep.
I feel like I had more business to give the league, the game, than
Mm-hmm.
just court announcing, although that's a huge passion and something I love.
Yep.
So I scaled my business down a bit, and my team looks after that. And then I took the job here, or was honored that they selected me out of a bunch of really qualified people.
Mm.
So that's how it all kind of started. I've been in it 2 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just having fun every single day. Like there's a lot to it I didn't know
Mm.
about before, as I'm sure you know,
Mm.
and other people know, but it is joy. Like right now, I won't spin this around and ruin your footage, but I am looking over court one right now from my office,
Oh,
and
really? It's at
yeah,
your
and
office. There
so
you go. Mm.
yeah, it's really good,
Very
and
good.
it's everything from new business practices and how we work with our people. The mission for me was pretty clear when I got in here:
Yep.
improved employee experience, improved customer experience, and let's have some fun with it. So that was really it.
So good, mate. It's really encouraging to hear. Maybe a North and Lakeside Lightning game down the track, mate. Little exhibition game
Yeah,
or something.
I like
Uh,
that. Let's go.
let's do it. So as we finish up, obviously basketball's taken you all around the world. You've had some incredible experiences. Is there one thing that you feel like has shaped you, or one experience that shaped you as a person and helped you develop maybe your character as well, or resilience, or something like that? Is there one event that you can pinpoint that shaped you in your career?
I think sometimes those things come because of the most recent thing that you went through. So I would say one of those is going to Paris and being a part of my second Olympic Games.
Mm.
That was that was unreal, and to be able to be there for the Boomers and the Opals as they did their business.
Mm.
So that seeing our teams succeed, and to be it is the most bizarre thing ever that I got to call the Boomers in their first
Yeah.
medal win in basketball,
Mm.
and then to go to Paris, and then to call our women over there. That was just surreal to me, and I think that those friendships, and it was never aligned. They don't go. As a matter of fact, they try to get you away from it. If that's your home country, they try to take you, like, hey, let's make the schedule so that doesn't happen. It's not as bad as referees, where referees can't ref their own countries and
Mm.
associated countries, but it's just a kinship, mate. And if you ever go
Mm.
back and look at any of the posts that I've done around like the call, there's one that's posted and for the women's uh, in Paris, and
Mm.
you can just see the pride. It's all full on like impartial, but you can just feel and see the pride in our country, and I think
Mm.
that really shaped me to go. Like I said, like I identify way more as an Australian than I would as an American after being here for so long, and
Mm.
just the open arms of the people
Mm.
of this country. I just, Dan, it's a dream run. Like
So
for
good.
a kid from Portland, Oregon, that
Mm.
decided to come out here didn't even have the right to work,
Yeah.
and meeting all the kind of right people and getting to where it is today. It's a dream run, an
Mm.
absolute dream run. I pinch myself every day to have
Mm.
the opportunity to be around the game that I love and to now be able to help, better lives through basketball. I
Mm.
just can't think of anything more important or better.
Well, what a way to finish, mate. It's incredible to see and hear your story.
Thank you.
Obviously, known you for a little while now, but mate, I know I can speak on all of
Sure.
Kings fans saying what a blessing it is having you part of the organisation and on the mic every game night. But Eric Stevens, thanks for
Yeah.
joining us and sharing your story on the More Than the Game podcast.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much.